Hello, hello. I hope everyone can hear me clearly. So, Soharth, first of all, thank you for the lovely introduction. And good morning, everyone. I hope you are feeling energetic and I hope you're looking forward to this talk. I know it's a Sunday and most of you might be wanting to rest, but I'm really appreciate that you're all here to hear me out on this particular talk. So, without wasting much time, let me attempt to take you through an industry that I have come to love and that has shaped my career over the past 4 years. Now, in order to be with you all here today, I actually took a flight from New Delhi to Kolkata, and I roughly paid around 4,200 rupees for the ticket. And now imagine that's just one seat. The aircraft I traveled in had about 186 seats, all full by the way, and an airline of a scale like Indigo conducts thousands of flights every single day. So let's see. 4,200 rupees into 186 seats into thousands of flights a day simply translates to a whole lot of money. So you all must be wondering that the airlines must practically be swimming in money, right? Well, that's what I thought as well. But then I came across a quote by Sir Richard Branson. If you want to become a millionaire, you start as a billionaire and then start an airline. Now, is there any truth to it though? Well, let's find out. So a 4,200 rupees ticket for a 1,300 kilometer journey from New Delhi to Kolkata roughly translates to about 3.23 rupees per seat per kilometer. I mean, that's not too bad, right? But let's see how much does it cost to make that flight happen. So the plane that you are flying in runs on aviation turbine fuel, and the fuel cost takes away around 35%. Now, the plane that you are flying in is most likely leased, so the lease payments take away another 20%. And the plane, of course, has to be operated by trained pilots and cabin crew. Their salaries take away another 12%. Maintenance, including engine overhauls, take away roughly around 10%, and airport charges, which include landing, parking, navigation, and of course other overheads, take away roughly around 15%. So, after accounting for all of it, we are left with a grand total of 26 paisa per seat per kilometer. I mean, that's pretty much it. And imagine, this tiny margin quickly evaporates when tickets are sold at a discount. We might even be running in losses sometimes when we are running our airline. And to put things in perspective, even our humble cab drivers who charge you around 12 to 15 rupees per kilometer, after accounting for fuel, maintenance, and platform charges for Uber, Ola, they would still be making around 3 to 4 rupees per kilometer very easily. So, a natural question that might come to mind is, why do we even fly? Now, here is where the story changes to one of optimism. So I want to ask you all one question. A quick show of hands. How many of you have ever taken a flight in your life? All right, I mean, that's about majority of the audience here. Well, congratulations guys, because you are among the less than 10% Indians who have ever flown. What that simply means is that we have over 1 billion people who are still awaiting their first boarding pass. Now, in aviation, we have a metric that we use to compare aviation capacities across various different markets. And that metric is number of seats per person per year. Let's see where India fares there. For India, that statistic stands at 0.13, which is actually quite low. And if we compare it against developed economies like US and UK, for US the figure stands at 3.09, which is approximately 24 times higher than India. For UK, the same figure is at 4.28, which is roughly 33 times higher than India's figure. By 2030, the Indian domestic aviation market itself is assumed to surpass 300 million passengers annually, and this is as per DGCA forecasts. And as we all know, India today is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. And it is estimated that by 2035, we will have 50 to 70% of our population lying in the middle class. And as people spend more and more on experiences, that will naturally translate to more travel as well. So, I mean, I can understand the earnings look very modest today, but if you look at the statistics and if you look at what data shows us, there is a huge headroom to grow. Now, you might be wondering, what are airlines doing to actually make the most of this opportunity? Well, the answer is actually fairly simple. They are trying to provide the best-in-class customer experience, and they are aiming to do so in the most operationally efficient way possible. Now, from perspective of customers, it all begins with aircraft safety. Now, this is an aspect that we rarely see, but we can always feel. Airlines today are using predictive maintenance systems which can flag technical issues before they become major challenges. And of course, I think we all know about the unfortunate crash earlier this year. And after that crash, many airlines are already experimenting with blockchain for secure keeping of maintenance records. All this to ensure that none of the defects go unnoticed and our airlines remain increasingly safe and reliable. Now, flying is no longer about just traveling from point A to point B. It is also about how you feel along the way. And it all begins with the booking journey itself. Now, whether it's about booking the seat that you want to travel on, or maybe customizing the meal that you want to enjoy in flight, or maybe just using biometric check-ins so that you can skip the long queues at the airport. Airlines today are increasingly letting its passengers define their own journey. And inside the aircraft, there is a heavy focus on personalization. Airlines are devising a large number of initiatives targeted towards comfort and convenience. They are providing specialized trainings to cabin crew so that they can make you feel welcome on board. They are experimenting with adaptive lighting that syncs up with your body clock and makes your journey more comfortable. And they are also providing several initiatives where, let's say, you get an app where you get notified that your baggage is safely on board so that you can just sit back, relax, and enjoy your flight. Airlines today are also opening up skies like anything. So we are increasingly seeing smaller cities being connected and airlines forming partnerships so that they can take their passengers to the remotest corners of the world. Just remember, guys, every new route is not just a new flight. It is someone's first time looking at the clouds from above, or maybe meeting a loved one they could not reach otherwise. Now, behind the scenes, airlines are becoming smarter by the day. And if you recollect from my talk so far, the fuel cost forms the largest share of cost in terms of operational cost for an airline. So they are increasingly putting in more initiatives to minimize that cost. They are inducting newer and more fuel efficient fleet. They are leveraging AI to optimize the flight paths so that there is a minimum fuel consumption and also the instances of turbulence are minimized. They are investing heavily in crew management systems so that the right people can be present at the right place at the right time. And of course, on ground, operations like maintenance and fueling are optimized to the minute, almost like a Formula 1 pit stop. So, to summarize it all, guys, airlines today are not just flying passengers, they are actually carrying aspirations. And to serve them, they are becoming smarter, greener, and more human at the same time. So, if you all are getting a little bit excited about a career in aviation, you might be wondering what a typical career path looks like in the industry. Now, to give you an idea, why don't I walk you through my own journey as an example, and I can perhaps tell you about how it worked out for me professionally and personally. Now, professionally, I entered aviation at a rather interesting time, in middle of the COVID pandemic. And well, this was a pandemic that shook the world and of course the industry with it. The airlines were bleeding money and almost all my friends doubted my choice at that point of time. The only people who believed in me were my parents, and well, their belief was enough for me to take this plunge. Now, as a person, I'm a very optimistic person at heart. And my optimism in aviation was grounded in its potential for growth, a childhood fascination with seeing the aircraft soar through the sky, and of course, getting a chance to move back closer to family as the job involved moving to Gurgaon. Now, I entered the aviation when industry was at its lowest. And but being from a generation of people who actually grew up watching the Dark Knight trilogy, I believe we are never short on motivation. And there is one particular line that has always stood for me. And that line goes, why do we fall? So that we can learn to pick ourselves up. And well, pick ourselves up we did. The thing about tough times is that they shape the collective conscience of an industry. And this particular phase brought values of cost consciousness, operational excellence, and best-in-class customer service. These values actually also shaped my career as I progressed in the industry. I started my career in the CFO's office as a part of corporate planning team, where I was doing a cost-benefit analysis of key initiatives and keeping a tight control on costs. It basically involved asking the tough question, do we really need it? I later moved on to airport operations. I took up the responsibility to do a performance evaluation for the network airports for Air India, where I was setting operational performance benchmarks for the network airports. And of course, in collaboration with the ground staff, asking another tough question, how can we do it better? And then setting a roadmap to do just that. Later I joined digital, and then I got a chance to set up a PMO ground up so that we can establish a governance around scope, schedule, and cost for the key initiatives for Indigo. And later, like more recently, I've taken up the responsibility to build an in-house catering operations application so that we can automate the end-to-end process all in one integrated platform. The journey has been exciting, full of challenges, yes, but also deeply rewarding. But having said that, there have been instances where, as I was juggling between different departments like finance, airport operations, catering operations, customer experience in between, digital, well, I felt my career was going all over the place. And to be honest, sometimes it didn't make sense or didn't seem like it was going in a particular direction of, a plausible growth. Now, a conversation with a friend one fine evening actually helped me gain some perspective there. He introduced me to the idea of a T-shaped career path. Now, what that essentially means is that all through our careers, we develop a deep expertise in one area, and then we leverage that to contribute to various different roles and challenges that we take up in our career all through our lives. So, for me, that area of expertise became data and analytics. And I had started my career as an audit analytics specialist. And well, that's where I honed my skills as a data analyst. And all through my career, I have used these skills to identify patterns from data, predict patterns, and of course, establish governance across various different roles that I took up all through my career. Now, for each one of us, the T-shape can vary. But what really matters is finding the depth that you can build upon. So that's all about the professional front, guys. But on personal front also, aviation has actually served me quite well. And I personally believe that it has given me memories that I will cherish for a lifetime. Here is a map of India of all the places that I have been to in my career. And well, it was sometimes for work, sometimes for leisure. And every time going to a new place, experiencing new culture, meeting colleagues, and building friendships are small wins that I will take away with me all my life. And like all mothers, my mother's travel wish list had taken a back seat to the responsibilities, of course. And well, here we are visiting 12 Jyotirlings, 4 Dhams, and many places that she always dreamt of visiting. Seeing her excited every time she takes a flight to a new destination always makes my day. And here's a picture of my grandfather when he took his first ever flight. He was extremely proud of the fact that I work for the airline that he's traveling with. And seeing him smile as he boarded the aircraft that day made me more grateful for what I really do. So guys, as we draw towards the end of this talk, I want to ask you all one question. Who do you feel is the right fit for a career in aviation? Would anyone like to say? All right. I mean, I'll make it simpler for you guys. You don't have to think too hard. It's literally for everyone. I believe this industry is one industry which has something for everyone and something for everyone's interest. And just remember, guys, aviation at heart is an industry of service. And I'll be grateful to be of service to any of you to help your dreams take flight. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.